Thank you. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. So let me tell you a little bit more about me. I'm originally from Romania. Before Branch, so Branch is a deep linking platform. So before Branch, I actually built an app. It was a photo book printing app called Kindred. We did pretty well. We're featured in the app stores. And then after the features were over, we really struggled to grow the app and ended up building Branch out of that. But also because I was a first-time app developer and I really struggled to grow and I had no idea where to go for information, I ended up starting these meetups called Mobile Growth Meetups. And we started them in the Bay Area, but now we do them all over the world, including here in Vancouver, in Toronto. And we just recently launched something called mobilegrowth.org. So that's about me. And I guess Branch, which is the company that I'm with, we've been around for about 2 years. We now have actually 70 employees, and we've powered deep linking for over 10,000 apps. So let's talk about virality. And when I was working at Kindred, I was obsessed with trying to get my app viral. So I thought, I want to do referrals and sharing, and I really, really want to get users to actually do free promotion for me. And then I started reading books. And then as we started working at Branch, I started looking at other apps that were using us for referral programs and trying to understand what are the things that work and what are the things that don't. And what I found is actually, while getting something to go viral is hard, doing it on mobile is nearly impossible. So let's see what it takes to get an app to go viral. So these are 4 steps. And in order to raise yourself and put yourself in the best spot possible to be viral, you have to actually look at each of those steps and do the right things. So first, you get user A, and he engages in your app. You need to get him to share. If he doesn't share, there's no way that virality will ever start happening. Then you need someone to click on that link, a different user. They need to actually download your app. They need to engage in your app. And once they engage in your app, they need to actually share again. And if they engage in your app, if you send something and you get user A to re-engage because their friend, user B, engaged, that's something that Josh Ellman from Greylock calls a double viral loop. Because now you engage user A again, and he's more likely to share and kind of fuel that fire. So let's talk about each of those steps and what you can do to poise yourself for success. So first, sharing and getting someone to click. So I read this book by Jonah Berger, and he's done a lot of research on what drives virality with products. And I think he has 5 principles, but I took the 3 that apply to mobile apps. So those 3 are incentives, ego, and emotion. So let's talk first about incentives. Well, you've all heard the stories. Uber grew to their referral program, and Dropbox grew to their referral program. I'm here to tell you that actually referral programs don't always work. And the problem is, if you don't have a brand and people don't know about you at all, referrals are not enough. So think about it as a mountain. You're at the bottom of the mountain, and you need to get your user all the way to the top. And referrals will only push them over the edge, but they won't get them from the bottom to the top. So the reason why something like Dropbox and Uber grew to referrals was because they actually built an amazing brand. And people already kind of heard about this awesome brand. So when they got an invite, they knew what it was, so they were more likely to try it. So if you're an early app that are trying and you don't have a brand, just building referrals won't work. And we've seen this. We've had hundreds of apps. I think in the very early days, they were just coming to us to Branch and build referrals. And we would help them, and they would build the perfect referral program. But no one knew about them. So they saw very little growth from that. An example of an app that actually built a brand very early on and built referrals is actually a dating app in the Bay Area, and I think they're in New York now too, called The League. So The League is an app. You have to be part of this exclusive group, and it's hard to get in. You apply, and there's a wait list, and then you can date these fancy people. So what they did was really interesting. First, because they did a great job with PR. They got a lot of different publications to write about them. They were in the Sunday version of the Wall Street Journal. So people heard about The League. And then they said, hey, we don't have anything to give to people. We're a free dating app. But what we have is it's hard for people to get in. So why don't we make it so when you join the waitlist, if you invite people and they install the app, when one of your friends installs the app, you're higher up in the waitlist. And that actually was phenomenal. They got something to 50 to 70% of their users actually came from this referral program. And then to make things even cooler, they found their best users and they said, hey, I'm going to give you a link. And this link will only work once, and only one person who installs from this link will be actually get into the app. And it's crazy how well that worked. They contacted us and said, hey, can you disable this link? Because people are selling these 5 links on eBay, and we want to disable them. So they basically created value out of this, the PR that they've done and the notion of scarcity. And it worked really great. So if you do referrals, best practices, it's better to give them something rather than a discount. Discounts work if you're a huge app and everyone knows who you are and people are going to buy anyway. And once you're big, actually discounts work better. But when you're very small, giving them something actually makes a lot more sense. Two-sided incentives are the best. So don't just incentivize the person who's sharing. Incentivize the person who actually would click and get your app to make sure that they actually have a reason to click. Do it very easily. One-step sharing is the best, so don't do coupons or anything like that. Do a link, and if someone comes from that link and installs the app, automatically give them the thing you wanted to give them. And then appeal to their ego, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. So ego. Ego actually, in my opinion, is one of the biggest drivers for virality. So these are some examples of BuzzFeed articles, and I'm sure all of you, or maybe not all of you, but I have taken these tests because I want to prove to myself that I associate with this one brand, or I'm better than one of my friends, or I've traveled to more places than I have. And I think most of how BuzzFeed quizzes grew were through appealing to people's ego. And even if we think of other examples, Instagram. I remember when I saw someone post their first Instagram photo on Facebook, and I was like, what is that? I'm a photographer. I didn't know they were a photographer. And look at this beautiful photo. I want to make photos like that. So I went and I downloaded Instagram, and then I was a user for life. And it was because they looked very cool because of that product, and I wanted to look as cool as they did. And this is an example of my co-founder, Mike. He never shares anything. But he built this table, our conference room table, and he was so proud of it that he started sharing it on social media. So he only shares things that make him look good, which is awesome. So if you can make a product, or you have things in your product that make your user look good, get them to share that versus sharing your product. And lastly, emotion. And this is most of this stuff is actually for Jonah's book. But he looked at different types of emotion and found a few things that were very interesting. Users do click and share because something drives emotion, but there's emotions that are more like arousal emotions. So something like surprise and anger that actually makes you feel something strong. You're more likely to share or click on those things. And then happiness, sadness, those things do not get a lot of shares or clicks. Also, interestingly enough, people are more likely to share something positive, but they're more likely to click on something negative. So I did a test. So my favorite thing to test in the world is Facebook ads. So I usually spend about $20 to $25, and I run experiments. So this was an experiment about cats. I found a cat article, and I put $5 in 4 different ads to see if this actually works. And it does work. When I titled my ad, 83 Reasons Why Cats Are the Best Pet, You Won't Believe Number 45, it got a bigger share rate than just 83 Reasons Why Cats Are Better Than Dogs. Because obviously, and these were all, these ads went to people who love cats. And then even more interesting, 83 Reasons You Should Not Get a Cat had the highest click rate. No one shared. Which makes sense. The article was a different article, but it turned out to be right. When you get people angry, they click to see. And a different thing that also drives clicks, which is more related to brand, is actually links that are branded. So I did this test with Target, and I took, I think it was a swimsuit promotion, and I did a targeted branding link versus a different short link that I built in Google. and it actually doubled the amount of people that clicked on the link. So doing some sort of branding through images to branding your links actually really drives clicks. So from click to download, this is something that's very interesting. So we looked over, because we're in the link business, we looked at over 200,000 links. We tried to understand click to install conversion. Is it the same? And it's actually not. So different channels drive very different click to install conversion. So if you're thinking, what's the best channel to get people to download an app? SMS is the best channel. Facebook is pretty good, but that data actually includes Facebook install ads. So that skews the data a little bit. But then LinkedIn, WhatsApp are much better than email. And Twitter, for example, drives a lot of awareness, but doesn't drive actually installs. Referrals are not the best. That's what the data says. So content sharing is twice as good as referrals. The text yourself the app thing is actually a little, it's people texting themselves the app that they want, so obviously has the highest conversions. But app banners do really well. So if you have web users, adding a banner to take people into the app to the same content actually drives very good conversions. And if you're thinking of what drives growth, over the same data, we saw that people who are deeply into content when they come into an app are twice as likely to activate than people who just come to your app regularly. And lastly, engagement. So if you think about how to get people to your app, you are putting everything into getting awareness. Paid acquisition, affiliate, blood, sweat, and tears. That's what we did at Kindred. We would go and ask people on the street to download our app at your app stores. And then you get them to download, and then they activate them and sharing them. Just because they downloaded your app doesn't mean they're activated. And I think that's a very important thing. Don't ever count installs, count activations. And it's funny, I was watching Silicon Valley the other day, and like monthly active users is what's important. Yes, your active users are what matters. So how can you get people to activate? So some things, custom onboarding. So if you know, if they come from someone who shared something with them, in this case, this is a quiz app called QuizUp. If I'm sharing something with a friend, when they come and install from my link, the first thing they see is the quiz and my face. So they're way more likely to actually engage and take the quiz, and now they're activated users because they actually use the app. And when we tested people coming to the app regularly versus in a custom onboarding, they were 78% more likely to sign up for that particular app. Personalized welcome. If you know where they're coming from, show them a personal welcome from the friend they invited them. Fun onboarding. Black Box is one of my favorite games. It's very weird. You have to play with your phone, and you can't touch the phone. And they did something really fun. You open the app for the first time, and you have to, the phone turns, so you have to turn around the phone, and it kind of gets you to understand what the game is about. And it's something that's fun and different. And I became a fan of this game. I started sharing it with everyone because they did such a good job engaging me. And Deep Views, this is actually a branch product that basically shows the user a preview of the app on the web. So if they click on the link and they don't have the app, you can take them to a preview of what's going to be in the app. And that actually gets much higher conversions. So if I'm to leave you with 3 things, tap into your users' emotions and ego, two-sided incentivized with one-step sharing, and optimize the welcome or the first-time experience. Think about it as dating. When someone opens the app for the first time is the first date, and the impression you leave there means if they keep coming back or not. So make sure the first time they get a great experience. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to me, and yeah.
I need some traction. You need some traction.